So I just wanted to talk a little bit about raising siblings with neurodiversity. We spent a lot of time before we adopted Fox, obviously doing the normal things with Lion, teaching him how to ride a bike, teaching him how to ride a scooter, climbing, all that stuff. And since we've had Fox, who isn't as active in terms of physicality, we definitely haven't done things at the same speed with her, and part of that is because Lion scoots or rides his bike into school, and we've still got Fox in the buggy, and she's always asking to walk or use a scooter, and we've said no. The reason we've said no is because Lion can struggle because of his auditory processing issues and his visual processing issues to stay and his ADHD. It's less to say focused because of his meds these days, although he still can struggle with that, but more with his depth perception, and he can kind of crash into things. So we compensate for that by helping him, by looking out for him, which in itself can stress him out. So we've learned to try and work out what he will anticipate in enough time versus where it's too short and therefore he can't stop him bumping into people or things and hurting them or himself. And he's been away the last few days, so we've been letting Fox use the scooter to go to nursery, and it's kind of reminded me that the compensating we're doing for him is detrimenting her. Now obviously we're not consciously trying to detriment her, but we're trying to balance things. But when you're just kind of in that day-to-day grind, we kept saying, oh, we'll teach her soon, and she starts school in September, and the objective has been that obviously no buggy by then. So, which sounds crazy because she shouldn't need a buggy now, and she doesn't. But scooting at the moment she's still quite challenging for her with corners and the way she stops. She doesn't use the brake, and I know that goes with time, but it's the time we haven't been giving her, which makes me feel awful. And I guess I just wanted to reflect on the fact that it's hard raising neurodiverse children, particularly when you have to compensate sometimes for the senses that haven't developed properly, or that will always be a challenge but they've not learned how to compensate for. So I think the last few days have made me reflect on that and think about how can I up the ante a little bit in terms of helping her with those skills without stressing myself or Papa out too much, because it is a lot when you're worried about them going in the road or bumping into someone, and particularly with Lion being dysregulated at the end of term, he is going in the road, so that wouldn't be a good time. So I'm starting to think about a timetable, or perhaps where you use the bus to do part of the journey as a compromise, so that the focus can be good in the pockets that they're needed for, but they don't need to do the big stretch. And that goes for both of them, because Fox is quite inattentive as well, so constantly looking at bright shiny things, which makes her bump into stuff or not see that something else is coming. So I guess just wanted to be a real talk, acknowledge that we need to adapt as parents of neurodiverse and think about how they get the balance. We've often looked at the balance about time that we give each child, and we try to be really good with that, but not necessarily in the skills that we're helping them build. And as a parent, I need to reflect on that and think about how I can do better for her, for both of them, because he also has challenges as a result of how she can be sometimes, which is why we need to invest more parent time with him. Anyway, just wanted to kind of reflect on that and kind of openly kind of acknowledge it. But that's just another challenge along the road.